Welcome back. Prime Minister Modi met with the United States President Donald Trump at the White House for what he described as an excellent meeting. This marked the Prime Minister's first official meeting with Trump since he took office on January 20th of this year. While welcoming the Prime Minister, Trump said, and I quote, "We missed you a lot." Modi responded saying, "It's great to see you again." The two leaders engaged in discussions covering defense and trade agreements, H-1B visas, immigration, and innovation as well. The meeting took place shortly after President Trump had announced a plan to impose reciprocal tariffs on countries that levy duties on U.S. imports, signaling a shift in trade policy. Trump also revealed that India had agreed to increase its imports of American oil and gas in an effort to reduce the trade imbalance between the two nations. Additionally, he also announced a significant boost when it comes to U.S. military sales to India, amounting to several $billions, including the provision of F-35 fighter jets.
Starting this year, we'll be increasing military sales to India by many billions of dollars. We're also paving the way to ultimately provide India with the F-35 stealth fighters. In 2017, my administration revived and reinvigorated the Quad security partnership. In our meeting today, the Prime Minister and I reaffirmed that strong cooperation among the United States, India, Australia, and Japan. And it's crucial, really, to maintaining peace and prosperity, tranquility, even in the Indo-Pacific.
भारत की डिफेंस प्रिपेयर्डनेस में अमेरिका की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। स्ट्रैटेजिक और ट्रस्टेड पार्टनर के नाते हम जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट, जॉइंट प्रोडक्शन और ट्रांसफर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी की दिशा में सक्रिय रूप से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। आने वाले समय में भी नई टेक्नोलॉजी और इक्विपमेंट हमारी क्षमता बढ़ाएंगे। हमने ऑटोनोमस सिस्टम्स इंडस्ट्री अलायंस लॉन्च करने का निर्णय लिया है। अगले दशक के लिए डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन फ्रेमवर्क बनाया जाएगा। डिफेंस इंटरऑपरेबिलिटी, लॉजिस्टिक्स, रिपेयर और मेंटेनेंस भी इसके मुख्य भाग होंगे।
Now, we'll continue to listen into the statements and the deals that have been made between the two leaders. But right now, we want to welcome a guest to the broadcast. We have Ms. Veena Sikri, a former diplomat, joining us on the broadcast at this point. Ms. Sikri, thank you so much for taking out the time to discuss this very interesting trip of the Prime Minister to the United States with us. I wanted to ask you, how exactly do you see the relationship between the two nations now? Because we have progression when it comes to certain areas, such as sectors of defense and trade as well. But also, when we talk about trade, we also have to talk about tariffs. Do you think we could see a trade war erupt?
Well, I think that the visit has been extremely successful, and I think for all of us, even more successful than anticipated, because yesterday there was suddenly an apprehension that President Trump is going to announce a thing about reciprocal tariffs, and how will this affect the bilateral relationship, and what is it going to mean for Indian exports to America, and so on. But I think this whole issue has been very nicely finessed, and there's going to be a bilateral trade agreement negotiated between India and the US. And not only that, we have announced a collective target of achieving $500 billion in trade exchanges in the next 5 years by 2030. So I think that is a joint target, and obviously the hope will be that it should be a balanced trade, and so like $250 billion each way. And I think that this is a good target for both countries to work for. And then when we talk about the bilateral trade agreement that will be negotiated between the two sides, certainly this aspect will be looked at. How do we reach this target? It should be a balanced target. And for that, for achieving that, what is it that both sides need to do? So where is it that India needs to cut tariffs, or where is it that America needs to give more access, and so on? So I think this big apprehension about the tariff aspect has been quietly put aside through the indication of a bilateral trade agreement between the two countries. And on other aspects, as you know, on
Well, that's a very
issues.
interesting take. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I think on issues like defense, on every aspect, as our Prime Minister said in his press conference statement, that on technology, we're looking forward to get technology, our defense preparedness, we're looking forward to a great deal of, cooperation and the F-35 jets and so on, which will have a great impact on India's defense
Yeah.
preparedness, is a very high priority. And if you bring technology into it, then the transfer of technology comes in, and you look at Make in India as well. So I think that this has been another great success. We got the extradition of Tasawwur Rana all signed off on, which is a great important achievement by our government. So I think from all points of view, there has been a very unique opportunity for our Prime Minister, a very special invitation from President Trump, and very warm words from President Trump. He kept on saying, my dear friend, in his book, he wrote, "You are great," in the book that he presented to our Prime Minister. And every time, we miss you a lot, the hug that they gave each other, it was from every point of view.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I think everybody was pretty interested to see the camaraderie that we also saw between the two leaders when they met once again. Ms. Tikri, do remain with us. We also want to take a look at the statements that have been made by the two leaders. In fact, as you just spoke about, the Prime Minister had stated that both India and the United States have set an ambitious goal of doubling their bilateral trade to $500 billion by 2030. Listen in.
हमने द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2030 तक 2 गुना से भी अधिक बढ़ाकर $500 बिलियन तक पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है। हमारी टीमें एक पारस्परिक लाभकारी ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को शीघ्र संपन्न करने पर काम करेगी। भारत की ऊर्जा सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित करने में हम ऑयल तथा गैस ट्रेड को बल देंगे। ऊर्जा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में निवेश भी बढ़ेगा। न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी क्षेत्र में हमने स्मॉल मॉड्यूलर रिएक्टर्स की दिशा में सहयोग बढ़ाने पर भी बात की।
Ms. Sikri, out of curiosity, with the United States increasing military sales to India, as you also mentioned about the F-35s, I'm curious, how does this align with both nations' policies when it comes to countering China's influence?
Well, I think this is a very important aspect. India is looking to step up its defense preparedness. With the latest technology, with the latest aircraft. And of course, that even before coming to the USA, the Prime Minister was in France. And there they discussed the Rafale maritime aircraft for our aircraft carriers. And with Russia, we're talking about the Sukhoi 57s. So I think all the Air Force feels, the Indian Air Force senior leaders feel that they can simultaneously work with, getting maybe 2 squadrons of F-35s, 2 squadrons of Sukhois, and of course the Rafale. We've already got the Rafale aircraft, but now the Rafale M for the maritime aircraft carriers. So this is a great boost to India's defense preparedness that President Trump has indicated the willingness to talk about it. Of course, it'll have to be negotiated. All the, there's a lot of work ahead for the groups, the teams on both sides to finalize these things. But I think the very fact that they are willing to talk about it, and President Trump has openly spoken about it, it's a great boost in the right direction, and it will mean a lot in terms of India's defense preparedness, particularly against China, because China has, of course, its own stealth fighters and so on. So particularly against China, this is very good. And also, this aspect that they have, it comes in the joint statement, compact, catalyzing opportunities for military partnership, accelerated commerce, and technology. So this compact agreement between India and USA that has been expressed through the joint statement of both the countries, it shows that this is where it is. Military preparedness, very important. America is willing to give all the technology. Accelerated commerce, we've got the $500 billion trade goal, and taking every opportunity. Prime Minister spoke about small modular reactors. So in civil nuclear energy as well, we are willing to step up the cooperation very well.
Absolutely.
Technology. This is very important because we want the technology. We are waiting for the GE engines. We're waiting to see whether they will come, and then they will be be able to be manufactured in India through HAL. And these are all very important aspects. The visual you're showing is so wonderful. You are great, the President of USA has told our Prime Minister. That's very, very telling and very affectionate indeed.
Absolutely. Ms. Sikri, do remain with us because we were just talking about the joint press conference. We also want to talk about another aspect of that. We're going to listen into an aspect where Trump had actually emphasized that the relationship between US and India and his rapport with the Prime Minister had never ever been stronger. He had even described the Prime Minister as a tougher and better negotiator than himself.
President, you spoke about Prime Minister Modi as a tough negotiator. Who was a tougher negotiator today and who has a better negotiating tactic when it comes to tariffs?
Oh, he's a much tougher negotiator than me, and he's a much better negotiator than me. There's not even a contest.
All right, now, Ms. Sikri, let's also talk about the aspect of terror that everybody has been talking about, terrorism. The United States president has approved the extradition of the 2611 accused, Tahoe Rana. How do you think that this extradition is going to impact the ongoing efforts to address anti-India elements, not just in America, but in other nations across the world, especially when we take a look at terror safe haven Pakistan and Canada as well?
Yes, I think that this decision by President Trump's administration to extradite the Tahoe Rana, everybody was waiting for the signature and the President Trump signing off on it. Very significant indeed in India's global fight against terror. As you rightly said, we've been waiting for this. This is absolutely, he was arrested in 2009 and, for terror links. And still after the 2611, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting for him to come back. But it was being held up for one reason or another. This indication that President Trump's administration is not going to tolerate terrorists on their soil, and especially terrorists who are acting against a friendly country like India. I think this will certainly have a great message for other countries of the world, whether it's Canada or UK and others. We have a great message for groups like the Khalistani groups who are living in America, living in Canada, living in UK, and thinking they can do anything they want, with their demands and attack their sovereignty. So I think this message right at the very beginning of Trump's administration is a very clear, unequivocal one, and surely it will be very important for India in its negotiations with the US administration and with other governments on our continuing fight against terrorism, on our continuing effort to seek agreement on counterterrorism with important countries like USA and UK and Canada. And maybe we will ultimately get that UN document on our global commitment, global convention on counterterrorism that we have been working for so many decades.
Absolutely. Well, lots to look forward to. Ms. Sikri, thank you so much for taking out the time to discuss the key takeaways, the key highlights of this trip. I think over the next few years, it's going to be interesting to see where all the two nations can develop when it comes to other sectors such as defense, commerce, where we've seen progress already, trade, tariffs, the whole cowabunga, really. But thank you so much for taking out the time and discussing this with us. Now, the Prime Minister had also introduced his vision of Make India Great Again, drawing a parallel to Trump's Make America Great Again. He asserted that MIGA and MAGA together had formed a mega partnership for prosperity. Listen in.
अमेरिका की भाषा में कहूं तो विकसित भारत का मतलब मेक इंडिया ग्रेट अगेन, यानी मिगा। जब अमेरिका और भारत साथ मिलकर काम करते हैं, यानी मागा, मागा प्लस मिगा, तब बन जाता है मेगा पार्टनरशिप फॉर प्रॉस्पेरिटी। और यही मेगा स्पिरिट हमारे लक्ष्यों को नया स्केल और स्कोप देती है। भारत की ऊर्जा सुरक्षा सुनिश्चित करने में हम ऑयल तथा गैस ट्रेड को बल देंगे। ऊर्जा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में निवेश भी बढ़ेगा।
Now, during their meeting at the White House, the United States President Donald Trump had gifted the Prime Minister Modi a signed copy of his book, Our Journey Together, along with a framed photograph from his 2020 visit to India. The book, featuring a cover image of Trump waving from Air Force One, showcases key moments from his first term, including the Howdy Modi event in Houston and Namaste Trump in India. While presenting the gift, Trump praised Modi, saying, "Mr. Prime Minister, you're great." He also shared a framed photo from his visit to the Taj Mahal, calling it a truly unforgettable experience. And Elon Musk, the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, in the Trump administration, welcomed the Prime Minister at Blair House. He was joined by 3 of his children, while the Prime Minister was accompanied by the External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, as well as the NSA, Ajit Doval. During their meeting, Musk presented the Prime Minister with a Starship hexagonal heat shield tile. According to an official statement from the Prime Minister's office, the discussions focused on enhancing collaboration between Indian and American entities in innovation, space exploration, artificial intelligence, and sustainable development as well. Reports indicate that a key topic was Starlink's pending license approval in India. Now, Musk's SpaceX has been seeking regulatory clearance to expand its satellite-based internet services in the country. And the Prime Minister also met the Indian-American billionaire entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy. And according to the Ministry of External Affairs, the 2 leaders had insightful discussions on Indo-US ties, innovation, biotechnology, and the role of entrepreneurship in shaping the future.
Prime Minister's first visit after the first visit to the United States after the inauguration of President Trump for a second term. And as I had mentioned earlier as well, the fact that this visit is taking place within just 3 weeks and a bit of the inauguration is a signal of the priority that both leaders attach to the India-US relationship. Prime Minister arrived in Washington, D.C. yesterday evening. He was hosted at Blair House, and he had a number of engagements on arrival yesterday. The newly confirmed Director of National Intelligence, Ms. Tulsi Gabbard, paid a call on the Prime Minister. This morning, the Prime Minister received Mr. Elon Musk and Mr. Vivek Ramaswamy as well.
And at the Global Investors Meet, Invest Karnataka 2025, Invest Karnataka Awards celebrated visionaries driving the state's economic growth